I'm Ashley Rebane, and my constraining factor I engaged with was amputation. To simulate this constraining factor, I filmed myself doing my tasks I do in my daily routine on 2 separate days. On the first day, I filmed myself going about these tasks with the ability to use both my hands and arms, and on the second day, I filmed myself only allowing myself to use my non-dominant arm. To summarize the experience, I did tasks as I would on a daily basis, but I found using only my left arm and hand proved to be much more difficult and time-consuming than when I have the ability to use both arms. Daily activities that I engaged in include, but are not limited to, showering, getting dressed, putting my contacts in, and brushing my teeth. This constraint made it difficult to complete tasks in a timely manner. When I timed the 2 separate days and compared my results, most of the tasks took at least double the amount of time when using my non-dominant arm as opposed to using both arms. The most difficult task for me to complete was getting dressed with only the ability to use my left arm. The hardest part of changing my clothes was putting on a belt, which usually does not take as long when I have access to both my arms. Another difficult task I found was to be anything including a twisting motion to remove a cap or lid. For instance, I struggled to get the cap off my mascara when I only had the ability to use my left arm because I did not have the other arm to hold the base of the mascara tube in place. Taking a shower was also very difficult to do with only one hand, but my time was only a little bit longer in that trial run because my shower gets cold at about the 10-minute mark, so I had to rush and probably did not get all the soap, shampoo, and conditioner off me, but I stuck it out in the cold water as long as I could. Before interacting with this constraining factor, I thought it would be more difficult and time-consuming, but when comparing the data, I was surprised by how much more time-consuming it was to only use one arm. I think choosing to simulate an amputation opened my eyes at truly how much harder it is to do simple tasks like getting dressed when you only have the use of one hand. Along with this discovery, I think I obtained a newfound admiration for people who live every day of their lives with a missing limb, especially athletes with amputations. I cannot imagine doing what they do, and I think this experience really opened my eyes to the challenges they struggle with every day, even though my simulation only lasted 2 days. When conducting my research, it became clear to me that when a person gets an amputation, it affects them on a deeper level than just physical. As AODO.org states, upper limb amputation not only affects a person's physical functioning, but also psychological and emotional well-being. In a paper written by Rich S. Sinha of the University of Groningen titled Adjustments to Amputation and Artificial Limb and Quality of Life in Lower Limb Amputees, Sinha claims that being adjusted to amputation and artificial limb is important for functioning, quality of life, and to enable social participation of amputees. Sinha then goes on to continue on expanding AODA's point, saying that adjustments have mostly been applied as limiting and negative consequence after amputation. 2 different studies were conducted, one by Horgan and Michelon, and the other was conducted by Gallagher. In Horgan and Michelin's study, they focused on the psychological adjustment in amputees as depressive and anxious reactions, body image anxiety, social functioning, and social discomfort, sense of self and identity, and its relationship to physical limitations. On the other hand, in Gallagher's study, he explored the perceptions of amputees about their amputated leg and whether they perceived that something good had emerged out of their amputation, and found that almost half of the people thought positively about their amputation. Adding to Gallagher's study, Berger and Marinek reported an article titled The Lifestyle of Young Persons After Lower Limb Amputation Caused by Injury that they conducted a questionnaire involving 228 individuals with transtibial or higher level of lower limb amputation who were younger than 51 at the time of amputation. In this study, it was found that after amputation, most people participated less frequently in social activities, especially people who were older at the time of amputation and those who are older today. Along with this, the study reports that 93 people completely changed their free time activities and only 30 were still interested in the same activities as before. The 3 most frequent free time activities before amputation were cycling, team ball games, and farm work. After amputation, they were reading, watching television, and/or listening to the radio and music and housekeeping. The report conducts that stating that Lower limb amputation severely changes the social life and free time activities of people who were younger at the time of amputation. For my lived experience exploration, I found an article posted by Limbs for Life called Drumming to His Own Beat about a boy named Knox Gibson who was 8 years old with an amputation below his right elbow resulting from a farming accident involving a lawnmower in 2011. Despite his limb difference, Gibson's parents describe him as being very confident, stubborn, determined, independent, and cheeky. Gibson's amputation does not stop him from being active as he participates in soccer, swimming, cricket, and even learning how to play the drums. Gibson's mother says Knox doesn't wear his prosthetic arm all the time, but often uses it for specific activities. All of the assisted devices are incredible, but the one Knox uses to hold a drumstick and play music is quite amazing. As Knox loves pirates, he also has a hook arm, which he likes to use for dressing up and fun. Gibson is fearless and does not let his amputation lower his self-confidence. Gibson undergoes occupational therapy through the Westmead Limb Clinic to allow him to use his prosthesis to the best of his ability. Gibson was previously right-handed before the accident, so the therapy helped him learn how to use his left hand along with fine motor skills associated with it. Overall, the amputation does not stop him from doing the things he loves, and he is not self-conscious about it at all. During this experience, I came across many challenges. One challenge I faced was with unscrewing the cap of my mascara. It was difficult because I usually hold the bottle with my left hand while I unscrew it with my right. But I did not have the ability to use my right hand, so I had to manage using only my left. My creative solution for this task would be using something to anchor or clamp the bottle in place while one's hand is free to unscrew the cap with greater ease. Another issue I struggled with was putting on my belt. The hardest part of this task was clipping the metal piece through a hole in the pants at the end, but I somehow completed this task with only the use of my left hand. It only took a much greater amount of time than when I had the use of both hands. A solution for this problem could be looping the belt before putting on the pants and wearing a magnetic belt clamp, which would definitely shave off some time it takes to put on a traditional belt. My final challenge was taking a shower. It was very tedious doing this with only one hand because I would have to uncap the bottle, dump the product straight onto my hair or body, and then close the cap and put down the bottle to rub in the product. A creative solution for this issue would be having built-in dispensers, much like those in public restrooms, making the task much more tedious and time-consuming.